Hello, hello, welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So today, I'm gonna ask a question. What leaps have you taken? So the channel is called Leap Taken for a reason. So a little background on Leap Taken. So I came up with that name because quite frankly, I felt like I was every few years taking a new leap into a new location, a new type of experience, new people, just across the board. And it was like, I want to say average 2 to 3 years. I've moved to a lot of different cities, some of the same states, but different areas, different sizes of the states. I think I averaged a move every 2 to 3 years over like more than a decade. It's crazy, right? So that's a lot of places. So I'm of many places, a lot of the South, and then Tennessee, and then now I'm here on the West Coast, and this is another leap I've taken, so who knows where we go from here. But I want to start my story with Orlando. I've told this story before, and this was a huge leap. I've had taken quite a few before, but this one felt huge. My first leap was, I think, having my daughter. That was a big leap because it was like, oh shoot, I'm a mom. Like that was a heck of a leap. But that's an ongoing leap because if you have children, they don't stay one way and you're constantly taking leaps with them or watching them leap, which is a journey in itself. That's a big deal to watch your kids then take their own leaps in life and take risks and chances and things like that. So I'm tied to them forever because, they're a part of me. So it feels like I'm taking it with them because, everything they do literally affects me in some sort of way, the good and the bad. Anyway, but Orlando. So at the time I was in Orlando, I was with somebody, and that's the first time that I heard very clearly, very distinctly, the voice of intuition. And I've talked about this voice before, but the voice said, you'll move here and you'll be here by yourself. You won't be with this person that you're sitting across from right now on this lovely, beautiful day, sitting outside having a nice breakfast. And that's what happened. I'm looking down at my notes because I want to stay on task. So that's what happened. And yeah, that happened because I took a leap. I really listened to that voice. It happened a year later. I was able to move to Florida. At the time, I thought it was Orlando. I thought it was very specific, but the voice meant Florida, not necessarily Orlando. I never did live in Orlando. So there's that. I took another leap, several after that, kind of going public, writing a blog. And that was a big deal for me. I never got a huge amount of followers or anything like that, but just putting myself out there and really trying that medium the way that I did was a huge leap for me. It really broadened my perspective, and I enjoyed being able to share, and it made it possible for me to get to the point where I could do YouTube videos. So yeah, blogging was a big deal. And then once I started getting more consistent with my posts, even bigger deal. YouTube itself has been a big leap. Getting on here, sharing more and more of myself, because the longer you're here and the more videos you do, it's inevitable you're sharing just parts of your life. Where probably in the beginning you didn't think you'd be talking about all that sort of stuff like now, but here we are. But I don't mind. It's not like, well, we all have something to hide. People say, I don't have anything to hide. It's not so much, well, I have to hide it from you. You don't need to know everything. But yeah, I feel like this has been a huge leap coming onto YouTube. Like I don't want to say I never saw myself as a YouTuber or somebody who makes videos, because I was on the blog. I could take the leap into YouTube. And I knew that was going to be important because I could sense that people weren't really doing blogs. And quite frankly, I'm wondering if I need to take another leap into other social media platforms like TikTok, because, I'm here with everybody else on YouTube, and I'm on TikTok a lot. I'm on TikTok more than I'm on YouTube. So I'm wondering, hey, maybe I need to go over there. But that's a whole other conversation. And if and when I've created, Leap Taken, I think I created it up for TikTok. Yeah, I think my profile is not my name. I think it does say Leap Taken. That's how so removed I am from even putting content. I'm more just a voyeur. I just watch other people's stuff. But at some point, it's inevitable. I'm gonna enter the TikTok space. Leap Taken will be there. But that's just right now, that's a leap. That's going to be a leap for me. Speaking of other leaps to come, well, before I get to that, I want to kind of go over my little list here of leaps that I've already taken, other things that I've already done outside of sort of my background and how I got here and came up with the name Leap Taking, because like I said, I felt like I was always taking a new leap. So fully coming out of the broom closet, that's a big leap for a lot of us. So like that feels astronomical, like that feels huge for a lot of us coming out of the broom closet. And you don't have to walk around with a hat and a sign and, a costume, a witch's costume. I mean, you can, but I don't. But I don't hide it. I don't lace it in another conversation. I don't do any of that. I'm very upfront and open about my path. And if someone asks a question, cool. I haven't had anybody to my face try to offend me. Well, let me rephrase that. Sometimes people are saying things that I find offensive. I don't know if they're trying to or if they feel defensive because of their own spiritual practice. Isn't it like that most of the time? It's usually family, close friends. These are usually people who know you or have some sort of, who've had contact with you before. It's like they try you a little bit. And I think it's coming out of just defense of what they believe, because the more involved I am with my path, the longer I'm on it, it kind of makes them think about their own stuff. And I think for some people, they don't like that and they get defensive. So I don't know if it's an intentional thing of trying to offend me. I think it's more of a thing. Sometimes they say things because they're just being defensive. But yeah, coming out fully out of the broom closet was a heck of a leap. Creating powerful spell and reaping the results. I did a spell last year. I gotta find that. Hopefully I can link it. I'm trying to link it. I gotta go back and remember what I named it. But anyway, I'll know it when I see it. But I'm gonna try my best to link it. I did the spell. I remember I was sitting outside, and I always say I like to do spells on spells on spells. But I was doing spells on spells on spells. The leap for me was one, putting that much energy and faith into that work, because that work was going to be super important now, and it was to having multiple streams of income. And that would, that's my livelihood. That's how, that's necessary. So we'll just say it's necessary. So yeah, that was super important. So that was a huge leap for me. It's not that I don't believe and have faith in my spells, don't get me wrong. This one was different. This one's different because it wasn't a thing. It had to work. There was no other option. It had to work. And yeah, that was a heck of a leap for me to really trust all in. That's why I believe in a magical lifestyle, because the times that I kind of just fall into it, I just surrender into all of it, my beliefs, everything I believe in. And just, there's no room for doubt, because I'm just encased in all of the magic and all of my alignment and, all of the energy that I was able to raise and put forth. I'm just letting that just consume me, and I just move forward, and it worked. So that was a huge leap to do that. And if you're a practitioner, you know what I mean. It's not that we don't believe in our magic. It's not that we don't come 100% all the time. It's just that there are certain types of work that you do where everything is on the line. And to take that leap for me, and to go no doubts, no worries, just knowing it's gonna be, just knowing, trusting and believing in myself, in my abilities, man, here I sit. It worked, I'll just say that. Stepping into my divine center role as a coven leader and a mentor. I believe I was meant to do that. I've always felt like I probably could have been a teacher, because I've enjoyed doing that. work sharing information, researching myself. I love learning and then sharing. So it's not from a point of view of like I know everything, because I don't, and I like learning more. So I enjoy, reading and listening to others and finding out more facts, opinions on certain things, spirituality wise. I love history. So yeah, and I love sharing and talking about it. I get excited. That's what fuels making these videos, by the way. So it all kind of ties in, but that leap into that role, those roles, is huge for me, because it's one thing to like it. It's one thing to talk about, yeah, I could do this or I could do that, as a lot of us do. It's another thing to step into the role and be consistent and do it. So that was a heck of a leap as well. And this one, not a lot of you might not understand this, but let me explain. I mentioned in the beginning about moving around a lot. My family, we've moved a lot. So honestly, when you live like that for a while, over a decade, avoiding the urge to travel, like move someplace, it becomes an urge, because it feels routine, it feels normal and almost necessary. So I call it avoiding the traveler urge. Like, not like traveler, like vacation, like travelers, like people who never really have one home, like they're like mobile home, and they go in groups, like travelers. The other word, we're not, I know people are very offended by the term gypsies, so I'm saying travelers, because that's really what I'm thinking. But yeah, living like that, except I didn't live in a mobile home, but that would have been cool. And honestly, my mind wraps around that more and more as I get older, because that makes a lot of sense, but I digress. Staying in one place, and boy, let me tell you, it's been tempting, because there have been, first of all, I can make an opportunity to go someplace. If you tell me I can go, I'm one of those people, I'll go to your city once, I have a nice time, I'm over there. When I get back home, I'm already looking for places to live. Or what's the best neighborhoods to live in? I'm asking questions, like I'm really thinking. And here's the thing, I know how to do long distance moves. I've done them so many times, including this one here, coming from the East Coast to the West Coast, but I've done other long distance moves. So it's not like that could be a second career, logistics for me, because and like being your consultant and handling all of your things. I'd be expensive, trust me, because that's a lot of work. Making sure utilities are on, like your concierge. Yeah, moving concierge. I think that exists, at least for those with money. I'd be one of those people, because it's a lot of work doing that. But I digress, let me move on. But resisting that urge is a heck of a leap, because I've given into it. There have been circumstances, it was usually work related, but now that that's there, like I think about that all the time. Actually, I think about it quite often. I think the reason it's easier to take the leap into staying put is because I can't really think of another place I want to live. A long time ago, I would have told you somewhere in California, maybe Northern California. But the way California is set up right now, I don't think so. Y'all, it's already expensive everywhere else. The Californians that came to Arizona, and they made it expensive here. Well, they didn't do it, but they didn't help. Anyway, and here's an important one, leap, that I've definitely taken. Committing to living without constant fear. I'm a work in progress with that, but it does count. And when I say constant fear, I mean of all kinds. Physical, mental, like just emotional, like all of those different fronts. And here's why. For years, I discounted where I grew up. I grew up in the hood, and a lot of us just grew up in certain areas, and we just kind of accept that's what it was, and, we move on, or so we think we're moving on with life. And in reality, growing up in a place where there's a lot of poverty, and let me be very clear, I mean poverty, people who are dependent on their source of food from the government. Like there is no other option. They're going through it unless somebody help them. family or, some sort of, food bank or something like that. Like, not everybody I was around was like that, but I did have friends who were like that. Like, that's just being honest with it, as friends. A lot of people, they made a lot of their parents tried to do the best they could to make the best out of the situation. I mean, because you live there, what it is, but it was the projects. That's where I grew up. I'm from Camden, New Jersey. So it wasn't always great. I'll just say that. And as I got older, I grew up in the 80s and all like, the crack thing, and it was a situation. But anyway, because of that, like, it wasn't abnormal to hear gunshots, especially not so much when I was little, but as I started getting older, and you could just feel like more violence to me, or maybe I was more aware. And it's hard to explain because you kind of adapt to your surroundings. So in the moment, you don't like it, but it is what it is. And you learn how to navigate in your environment. So it doesn't mean that I never went outside. Of course I went outside. I still put myself in dangerous situations because living there was flirting with danger, low key. I mean, it is how it was. So because of that, I know I developed a lot of fear, which I thought were survival tactics, which makes sense. But if you're in a place where you have to feel like you're surviving, you're not really thriving, you're surviving, that's not the positive, not for long term, There are people who, go into war zones, they have PTSD and stuff like that. We respect that. But I find it interesting that, we know why. Because most people who unfortunately are in these types of communities are people who look like me. And, my pain, for some reason, our pain isn't, we're not really considered all human most of the dang on time. By some people, I feel like a lot of times we're looked at as an other. So the fact that we might have PTSD and pain from these places, I didn't ask to be born into this environment, So here, I am now in my adult life, and for years, I'm still fireworks freak me out. And it took me a long time to realize it wasn't just the noise. No, I know why. In the same way, you got army vets and stuff like that, you get freaked out by fireworks. Yeah. Certain areas, like going into somebody in a hood, like there are some people, what I really can't stand? I'm tangent alert. People who go into, as a person who grew up in said hood, in the projects, and I didn't leave until dang near almost an adult, I think we left, I was 19, turning 20. So the whole time, you understand now? It's insulting to me at the number of people I hear who romanticize growing up in the hood and things like that. It's like, first of all, just because you came to visit your cousins and you slummed it on the weekend under the full protection of your cousins and your family and them, yeah, that's cute, And now when you go to other places, you're like, I'm comfortable in any hood and all this stuff. These little silly little boy rappers that are out here and they perpetuate this myth. And they're like, what are you talking about? I know what it's like to be rough. It's like, first of all, shut up. Just shut up. Why are you romanticizing this? Did we not start off? The reason it's the hood is not because it's just people who look like me who live there. It has to do with income. It has to do with lack of funds, money. It's the poverty piece. Because by the way, you can make the hood and they can be all white people because it's the money part. That's why it's the hood. It's not about it being black people. It's because people don't have money. It's because they in poverty. That's why it's the hood or the ghetto and all that stuff. Anyway, it's not synonymous with blackness. It just happens to be black people who you can easily see because we all, we're all brown, right? So there you go. You can see all of us there. But as somebody who's, as I said, traveled and lived in different places, oh, honey, there are white hoods too. But, they don't, trailer trash, that's what they'll call them. And fun, cute names that are never really that demeaning, right? I mean, they can be demeaning if you live in a trailer. I get that. But they don't hit the same as how they talk about people like me and the stigma that comes with it. I had to change. When I applied for jobs, I hated putting my address on where I live because, which is another fear. Like all these fears came out of where I grew up. It's just crazy. But one of the things I had to do was, first of all, identify that. That takes soul searching, shadow work. Where's this coming from? The way I approached men and things like that, there was a level of fear with that, and packaged in different tiny ways. I had to unpack it, unpack all that over time. And just this overall fear of death. Like, man, I had a lot to work through over the years. Religion didn't help with that. But yeah, that was basically a big leap for me, getting over all these fears. In tangent. Leaps to come. So I want to sign. I know there's some classes that I plan on taking to help me, because I said I enjoy learning, to help me continue to grow. And I'm really looking forward to taking some of these classes. This is a big leap for me. Basically, like formal, well, low-key, kind of formal education. I'm not like going to college or anything, but I'll end with like a certificate. So there you go. That's a big leap for me. Traveling out of the country again. I've been to Canada, the Bahamas, and I've been to Jamaica. So I'm looking forward to, I still have Mexico on my list, and I still want to go to Ireland. I want to go to Scotland. I definitely want to go to Botswana because I gotta go, and definitely South Africa. So those are just to name a few. And I want to see the UK. I want to go there and maybe have that as a jumping off point and see other places, but that's a whole other conversation. Leaps to come. That's where my head's at. So traveling out of the country, designing more programs and classes through leaptaken.com. I'm already working on it. So that's a huge leap for me. Something that's really dynamic and very informational, and hopefully gets everyone excited on a variety of topics that I don't see everybody else doing, but I think are super important. And then the other leap, growing in ways I'm yet to know, but embracing it anyway. I'm open to growing in different aspects of my life that, I don't really fully know where everything's gonna go and the directions things are gonna go in, but embracing it, that's a leap for me, because I'm somebody, I've even talked about it, like I like things to be stable. I like my money to be stable. I like everything to be stable. The reality of it is within reason, but to take certain leaps, that's risk, calculated risk. And sometimes you don't have all the answers up front. You got to take that jump anyway. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm embracing it. So that in itself is a leap for me to be in that mindset. So what leaps have you taken? Let me know in the comments. What leaps have you taken? What leaps are to come? And I gave you a variety of different things. So let me know in the comments. All right, so again, I appreciate you for watching. Coming to my YouTube channel and watching my videos, I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Consider hitting the join button for Leap Taken membership. Check out my services over at leaptaken.com. I'll be updating soon with some slots for mentorship programs. But as always, thanks again. All right, bye.